Who has a question for David?
I was just wondering if you go back and reread some of your older stuff, and if so, what are your favorite stories that you've written?
Oh, you could not pay me to read something of mine that I wrote a long time ago. All I see are like just missed opportunities, and why did I use that word? Or the worst is when you reread something. Because I had to reread some old things for the BBC for this recording. And there were stories that I wrote 10 and 20 years ago. And I would see, let's say, the word work twice. You know, like I would use it in one sentence and then I would use it in the next. I think, how did I never catch that? How many times did I read that out loud? How many editors did that go through? How did I not see that? So they're just, to me, all those, just every book is just filled with regrets and mistakes. But I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of writers feel that way.
I would still recommend you read all the earlier books, so I don't know if you have, because I think that's you being you. What happened, before we go to another question, what happened to the movie that was going to be made? I believe, was it Wayne Wang had the rights to 4 or 5 of the essays and was going to make a movie based on?
Right, and then, I don't know, I got out of that, and then...
So when you say you got out of it, so he was working on a script, you didn't want it to happen, or?
He's a lovely guy, and I just panicked. Because the stories involve my family, and my family didn't say we don't want to be in a movie, but I don't know, the more I thought about it, the more I thought about it, I thought, well, I've made a huge mistake. And there was a moment when I could back out, and so I backed out. But then somebody just made a movie out of a story in the book that doesn't involve my family. And it's from the book Naked, and it's called COG, which stands for Child of God. And so this fellow made a movie, and it came out. I saw it at Sundance. I saw it in February, and I think it's going to come out in September. And he's just a kid who made the movie. He's 30 years old. And it's just based on something I wrote. Like, he took my story, and he said he gave me the opportunity to approve of the script, and I didn't want that. I just wanted, this is his project, so.
And were you pleased? Did you enjoy the experience of seeing?
It was just so weird to go to a movie and then hear somebody say David, and then have somebody who's on Glee say what? It was the oddest experience. I'm the only one on earth who can't see it, really, because I look at it and I'm thinking, that's not what my trailer looked like. But he gave me the opportunity. It could have looked exactly like my trailer, but I didn't. And it's not a movie about what my trailer looked like. So
you've written plays, though, haven't you? I know you've worked with your sister. Is it the Talent Family you call yourself?
Yeah.
Would you write a screenplay? Are you interested in taking your work into? No.
No, I like going to the movies, but I never wanted to have anything to do with them. You know, I never wanted to go into a dressing room, or I don't want it to be spoiled. Yeah. Like, I don't want that.
The magic of the movie experience.
Yeah.
Oh, I can understand that. Do we have some more questions for David?
You said that the fact checkers, before they published it in the New Yorker, checked out your story. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of us perceive, shall we say, that journalists don't always do fact checking. And it's kind of, just to me, there seemed a bit of an irony in there that the New Yorker, within the culture of journalism, wanted to check out your story to make sure it was authentic and true and nothing was wrong. It wasn't a brick or a cinder brick or a whatever. So to me, I just wondered whether there was actually some observations you might in the future bring into journalism.
Well, they tend to do that more, I think, in the United States. I mean, magazines do. And the New Yorker has the fiercest, really, fact-checking department of any magazine in the United States. Newspapers aren't inclined to do it. I mean, I see things in the newspaper, especially here, that are like, oh my goodness, like, it would not have been hard at all to, what was it, something the other day that was really kind of huge in the newspaper. And again, it wouldn't have been hard. I remember in France, after September 11th, I remember watching television, and they said that Pennsylvania was in California. And again, it wouldn't have been that hard, you know, to to ask somebody, like maybe somebody new, an American, but and they could have just run it by them. But newspapers don't tend to do it at all. And so I never read anything. Like when I give an interview in the newspaper, I never read it. Because I thought, if you get caught up in that, then, I don't know, then you just become that kind of control freak. You know what I mean? Even like when I would read things years ago, it would say, let's say, I showed up and David Sedaris was wearing a brown turtleneck. And it's like, I don't even own a turtleneck. Like, I don't have and the story wasn't about turtlenecks. Maybe that was just, and it didn't matter to anyone but me.
Yeah.
But I thought, wait a minute, how come I have to get all this stuff right? And you guys don't. And maybe it's because newspapers, it's like a daily thing and they don't have the time to do that. But, let's see, I've never, like the things that I've had published here in the UK, like in magazines and stuff, or in Saturday or Sunday magazines, they don't have fact-checking departments, or they've never asked me, they've never asked me for anyone's numbers to call and double check. Like I had an article about rubbish, and I had an article about Chinese food, and there's never any question of that.
Didn't you hit some flack with the Chinese food article in the States, didn't you?
Yeah. I never liked Chinese food. I just never liked it. And then I went to China, and I really didn't like it. Okay? And so I wrote a story about it, and I was so surprised by how angry people got. And somebody wrote, well, I'm sure they eat messed up things in North Carolina. And they do. And go ahead and write about it. I don't care. I was just surprised by how thin-skinned people were about it.
Was it mainly Chinese people or Chinese Americans, or was it just across the board?
Well, like I said, I don't read anything, but I was told about this. But then I was interviewed by this Korean American guy in the United States, and he said, well, I read one of the articles about, he said, I read your story, and I was offended. And it's like, your mother's Korean. You know what I mean? Like, your father's not. Your mother's Korean. The story's not about Korea. It's about China and Chinese food. It's not. And I had said in the article, I love food in Japan. And then people were, how dare you mention Japan when you know their history with China? It's like, no, I don't know their history with China. I was saying to somebody, I said, but maybe it was stupid of me expecting Chinese food to be like Japanese food, just because the countries are near each other.
Yeah.
I said, America is not like Mexico. I mean, that wouldn't be fair for me to compare.
Yeah.
That's like me saying that American, those two. So maybe that was naive of me to expect that the food of Japan would be like the food of China, but it was just a hornet's nest. I just didn't expect. I was just really surprised by how upset people got over it. I don't like Chinese food.
So if we could pass to this gentleman here in the smart blue shirt.
I would call that purple.
It's not. It's.
Oh, okay. Blue and red together make purple.
We're both right.
Now, maybe this is the wrong venue to ask this question, but I wonder, you've mentioned you love book signings. Do you worry that eBooks are going to put you out of, take that away from you?
Well, a guy came up to me about a year ago, and he had an iPad, and he said, I want you to sign my ebook. And so he gave me a little stylus, and he said, you just write your inscription right here. And then he said, give me your email address, and I'll show you how this works. And so the next day, he emailed me my ebook with the inscription in it. And the only problem was that he emailed me my ebook, right? So then I emailed it to 3 other people, and they got it with no problem. And so we went back to this guy and said, he said, yeah, that's just a little problem with it. But to me, that's like an enormous problem because it means you could just, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm 56, right? Which means that I've never illegally downloaded anything, right? I mean, because I don't know how. I mean, that's part of it, is that I don't know how to do it. But I know a young person, and he recently sent me an ebook and said, oh, I thought you'd like this book. And it was actually a book by a friend of mine that I'd read. And I said, how did you get this? And he said, oh, it's a site. It's got every book on it. It's got all your books are on it, and they're free. And I said, that's called stealing. Actually, what you're doing is called stealing. But, I mean, I'm happy when people say they got my book out of the library. That makes me happy. But to go to the library, you have to get off your ass and go to the library.
Yeah.
And I guess that was a problem, like just illegally downloading books. You don't even have to stand up to do it. And I feel like if I'm going to lose money, the least you can do is stand up.
Okay, we have another question on the end.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, in terms of your experience as an author, how do you feel that like your motivations have changed over time? I mean, like initially, it may have been more to do with like you adapting a personal journal and then turning that into something publishable. But now, do you think like you're more aware of the fact that you've cultivated an audience and they obviously react, as you said, to some of the things you've written, or do you feel like you're more writing for other people than for yourself?
Oh gosh, sometimes I'll go and do a reading, right, and then maybe I'll read in a theater, and let's say there are 1,800 people in the theater, and then afterwards I sign books for people, and so I've talked to some of the people in the audience. But then if you ask me to sit down and please them, I would not have any idea how to do it. I would have no idea. And so I think I just write for myself, and then I don't think that I would think. I don't think that I censor myself that I would think, oh, this audience probably wouldn't like it if I said bad things about iPods. You know what I mean? Because they might have iPods of their own, and they wouldn't like that. I don't think that way. I just try to please myself. Don't think I don't love my iPod, though. I was just trying to think of what an audience in the Apple Store might be like, boo, about.
Hi. Do you ever find it hard as a humorist to be taken seriously when you're being totally earnest?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, I do. I mean, sometimes it's interesting. This does not happen very often, okay? It does not happen. I mean, sometimes I feel like when you write humor and so there was a security guard one night in the theater when I was reading, and the security guard turned to somebody and said, they laugh at everything he says. And I thought, and I could understand what he was talking about, because it wasn't like it was funny. I think people just wanted to have a good time. And people said, they said, oh, he's funny, so they would just laugh at anything you say, even when you're being serious. So no, I do find that. And it can be frustrating because it's like, especially when you're trying to make a point. Sometimes I'll be reading a story and people will laugh, and it's like, that was like the sincere bit that you're laughing at. But it comes in handy too, and this, like I said, this does not happen often at all. You really won't meet anyone who likes signing books more than me, okay? And I can do it for a long time. But every now and then, you'll just come upon somebody who's just really pushy and unpleasant in a way that... And so I can say to those people, I can look someone right in the eye and say, oh, I hate you. And they, I'll say, I can't wait until you're gone out of my life. And so it's good then, because you can just say exactly what's on your mind and people think you're kidding.
Cathartic. Okay, I think that's all we have time for, I'm afraid. Will you join me in saying thank you for his time this evening and for his fabulous work over the years to, I think, the funniest writer alive today, Mr. David Sedaris.
Oh, thank you.